As we all know, and I mentioned earlier, Wednesday, Charlie Kirk joined the family of faithful martyrs. And I want to say a few things about that. We need to know this. He was killed not for political opinions. He was killed for his faith. He was a believer in Christ, and he spoke biblical truth. And when you tell the truth, when you speak the truth to power, when you go onto a campus which is a bastion of demonic influence, because the ideas that are being perpetuated and promoted in modern secular universities have demonic origin. When you go to a college campus and the kids are told that they can select which gender they are, when you go into a college campus and people are saying to you that abortion is just a form of birth control, when you go into a college campus and they say to you, you don't need to get married, it's a covenant of love, and it doesn't even have to be between a man and a woman. It can be between you and anything you love. When you're told you shouldn't have children, we're polluting the planet, we don't need that. You go on the campus and they see the worst thing. They say the worst thing is happening now is racism, racism, racism. Or they're upset at you because you believe in the Second Amendment as well as the First. And then you have news outlets that call you a Nazi, call you a fascist, call you a homophobe, who think that you're evil because you say men should not compete with women on women's teams, and men shouldn't be walking into women's bathrooms, and men should not be in the showers with the lady. Oh no, there's something wrong with you if he thinks that's crazy. And people like me and people like us who say, no, wait a minute, I don't want to offend you by being insulting to you, but let us be honest. Are you trying to tell me that a little boy and a little girl, there's no difference, and that we can dress them up any way we want and they're going to be the same? Have you no sense at all, no understanding of biology in any shape or form? You must not have ever raised a child, because there are such differences that are so obvious from the very beginning. For you to be arguing against that is for you to be going against nature, and nature's God. And that's what he did. He went on the campus. He was willing to politely discuss with people. And they called him names, and ultimately what happened is they killed him. Then you hear these people saying, oh, we're opposing violence. Wait a minute, you're the ones who have been from the very beginning. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it like this. You're the ones who from the very beginning have been saying that Trump and people like him are Nazis and fascists. You've been saying it for years. And you're the ones who provoked people to try and take that man's life. You're the one who's caused people to think in the way that they do, and calling. You have called for. I have heard the recordings of them calling for, well, this guy's got to be taken out. And now that it happens, no. Hate speech didn't come through Charlie Kirk. It's come from the mouth of the dragon. It's come from the mouth of Satan, and it's being repeated by those who don't know Jesus Christ. And we, as those who carry the truth, need to say it. We need to say it. His murder is also martyrdom. This is a man who loved Jesus. My wife and I were speaking, and my 5-year-old granddaughter happened to be able to hear. And I have to remember that sometimes babies hear. And later on, she came and cuddled up with me. I was sitting on the couch. And my little Elena came in. She puts her head on my shoulder and leans on me. And she looks at me. And she said, you know what, Papa? And I said, what? You're old. I said, how observant are you? I said, yeah, that's right, baby, I am. I am old. And she said, So is Grammy. I said, yeah, I know. No, I said, we are, honey. And all of a sudden, this 5-year-old is beginning to talk to me. Are you going to be there when I get married? No. No. Then she said this. You're going to go to heaven. I said, yes, baby. Will I know you? She had heard us speaking about our sorrow over the death of Charlie Kirk. Her question is, will I know you in heaven? Will we be together, Papa? She said, in those houses, mansions, will I be with you there? 5-year-olds shouldn't have to have questions like that. They shouldn't. They should be thinking about the things. Not, will I lose you? The way he was taken? You see, my heart goes out not only to those of us who had a respect and love for this man. My heart goes out to his wife, who is putting her head on a pillow next to the one her husband laid on. Never again to hear him breathe as he sleeps. Never again to have the routine that they had. Those babies are being raised without a daddy. A little girl, little boy, babies don't understand. Is daddy coming home? Is daddy coming home? Oh, he's doing something with Jesus, Mama says. And then you have people writing, they're evil. Those who say there's no such thing as evil haven't read the things that are being written about Charlie Kirk. They're evil. How could you? How dare you? How dare you? Where's your heart? Where's your sympathy? Where's your humanity? And it just angers you. How long, O Lord? How long until you avenge? How long must we suffer? How long? And he says, a little while longer. A little while longer. I've been taking this to the Lord because we need to remember something Jesus said. I'm going to read it to you out of John 11. It's when Lazarus had been in the tomb, and Martha and Mary, his sisters, were questioning because Jesus had received news that he was ill, but he hadn't returned. And by the time he got to where Lazarus was, he had been in the grave for 4 days. And Jesus had already made comments to them. They'd already had conversation related to that. Jesus was speaking concerning these things. And so she had said to Jesus, if you'd have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. And Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he'll rise again in the resurrection in the last day. But Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. And then he asked the question, do you believe this? Charlie Kirk is more alive than he's ever been. And I was talking to Marie, my wife, and I said he would not want to come back. He's beholding the face of the one that he loved and served so faithfully. He wouldn't want to come back. But I really do believe that he's an example of what it means to be willing to pay the last price, if necessary, for the gospel to go forth. He's joined the Hall of Martyrs. But he's left behind many that will take that mantle upon themselves and say, the gospel must go forth in these dark days. We have to be very careful that we don't compromise, but we need to continue sharing biblical truth. And we need to be careful to resist the natural response of hatred. Romans 12:21 says it like this: do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Now, it's my prayer that God's justice will be served. Because Romans 12:19 says, don't take revenge, my dear friends. Leave room for God's wrath. It's written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, saith the Lord. So I want to leave my anger in the hands of the Lord and say, God, do what is right. But until you take me to be with you, may I be faithful and use this as an example of what ultimately you may pay for telling the truth. May we not ever be afraid of speaking the truth. May we preach the truth and hold fast to it ourselves and share it with a no compromise attitude.